up? Hello, y'all. It's your favorite boy girl, Michael G, and this is Cocktails and Bubbles, baby. Are you ready to get your motherfucking bubble burst? Hey, what's up? Hello, y'all. Welcome back to Cocktails and Bubbles. It's your favorite boy girl, Michael G, and I'm sitting in the hot tub with my good friend Kiera, and this is the Expression of Self episode where we dive into heart, mind, and self.
Hi, y'all. I'm Kiera. I am the tiny queen, of course, as you could already tell. Yeah, I'm here to just talk about my experience of coming home to self, to staying true to being a creative, to how I've worked through those obstacles of getting to those places and just being open and free and honest. I guess. I don't know. So yeah, that's what we're here to kind of talk about. And we met at Good Grammar on the dance floor.
Literally on the dance floor. Like, I don't know who walked up to who, but it was just like,
No,
it was
just like parted.
It was like, it honestly kind of was like that. Like,
Yes,
everybody
yes.
got out of our way
It was
so we
like-
could find our way to each other. It
Yeah.
was kind of like that scene in Dirty Dancing, like where she runs and jumps in the air. Is that Dirty Dancing? Like, I've never seen that movie, but like I've always seen that clip. People reference it all the time. But like, it was kind of like one of those. And yeah, we've just been friends ever since. But like, we've never really like had time to hang out outside of like running into each other in a dance floor or like in each other's DMs, like supporting each other's personal work and that sort of thing. So it's really kind of like full circle just to have you here in the hot tub with this like vibe that I create with like another fellow creator. So thank you so much for being here, and I can't wait to dive into it with you.
Yes.
So that's the backstory of how we met, y'all. So we finna jump right into it. This evening, I'm sitting in the hot tub with my good sis Key, and we are drinking on some fairy juice. For this topic that we're going for, the expression of self, exploring the heart, body, and the mind, I wanted to create a drink that was low ABV and a bit more opening as opposed to inebriating as some of the other things that I've made on this show. So we're working with Tio Pepe Fino Sherry. We also have the Ritual Zero Proof Non-Alcoholic Gin Alternative. We also have Day Soy, which I just found out is co-owned by Katy Perry, and they make sparkling non-alcoholic aperitifs. And then just because we were talking about when we were getting things together for the show, out with the old and with the new, you told me that, you know, pomegranate symbolizes fertility and like growth and that sort of thing. So I made a pomegranate elixir with just a little bit of pomegranate juice, a little bit of palm sugar, there's citrus peel, and there's also a couple of like, you know, Daddy Long's secret spices in there as well too. So there we go, fairy juice. For the two cutest fairies in the fucking forest. When we initially got in contact about you being on the episode and that sort of thing, and I was like, yeah, duh, like of course. That would be fucking incredible. Like this is perfect for the two of us, you know what I mean? And when we talked, I had told you what I had already had in mind for like, I'm like, okay, this is what I have in mind for episode 4, and you were just like, what? Like that's kind of crazy. Like it's kind of wild how like
It just like was so perfect.
the universe has kind of put us both in the room at the same time, and I love that for us. Like it's kind of been like it's kind of felt like a long time coming for the two of us a little bit. That's because I feel like we've really developed a friendship that like grew deeper online, just like being in support and admiration of one another. Which there's never anything wrong with that at all by any fucking means. But it's just like when you get to really connect with another person like in the physical world, it just really opens up the mind. Like I just love that. I just love that connection that we have. Like you were just such an inspiring person. Like she really does it fucking all, and we're about to get into it, y'all. So why don't you go ahead and let's just start with this question. Like what brings you joy?
Brings me joy. Honestly, when I first like thinking about this question, I had a little bit of a hard time answering it, and I think it was because when we came like connected with each other, I was kind of all over the place a little bit, and still on that journey of like, reaching that mind, body, spirit. And I think like running into you, like connecting with you, like helped kind of bring that full circle for me of being like, oh, I think I've just seen you at multiple points in my life. Like you've randomly been in my life at like random points of being like, I don't really know how to explain that. You've just been like a person.
No, I
that's
totally get there.
And, like it's
your life. I'm just living in it. You know what I mean? Like I was secondary character for a minute, and now I got me a reoccurring spot on the show.
Yes, I love to create. Honestly, I think that brings me the most joy in my life. It helps me work through my emotions and feelings and like all of that and express myself and literally do whatever I want. I'm like, oh, I can create something. Like, I'm feeling sad, let's create something better. Or I don't know, I enjoy to create. I love flowers. I enjoy looking at flowers and taking photos of flowers. I love creating for other people and like by other people.
Yes.
And like that type of like intimate connection. Like,
speaking of create for other people, let me show y'all something, all right?
custom. Only for the finest.
Like when you pulled up with this out the roster, I was like, hold the fuck up. Check this out, y'all. I got me a little Kiera original. Go ahead and tell the people what you did.
So we got a little mushroom fairy booty, of course, because. And this is just fabric paint and fabric marker, and I just drew it on there with like a little Sharpie and then just painted it. Yeah, and I just splash paint all over.
With the daddy long on the motherfucking back. Gotta let these hoes know who I is.
Yes.
I mean, y'all already know, but like,
all
don't get it
knowing.
twisted.
Baddest of the business.
I love it.
Yes.
And I'm not gonna tell y'all what it is exactly. I'm gonna keep the people in suspense, but she's also working on something very special for the two of us, and we cannot wait to show y'all what it is. And on top of that, also, she did my makeup this evening as well, too. It's like, you're one of those people that is just like, when it comes to creativity, like you embody the word at large. You don't limit yourself in the ways that you express yourself. And I think that's so beautiful, because something that I struggle with is allowing other people to limit me in how I create. I feel like something we talked about when we hung out the other day is how we are perceived as people. And I feel like people don't allow each other to be seen in different lights and in different modes and in different moods and different feelings and that sort of thing. And I feel like sometimes as creatives, like, people always want you to be on, always want you to like to exude this, to give that, to wear this look, to like, you know, be this when you're out and about. And it's just like, damn, I'm a person too, you know what I mean?
Right.
How do you handle that sort of thing? Like, do you feel pressure from the ways in which you put yourself out there to consistently always be that person?
Yeah, I do at times. I feel like that people do, like, since people intensely push that, I think that people that don't really know how to create kind of don't, it becomes like their source of creation, if that makes sense.
It's like stan culture almost.
Yeah. And so, but I also truly don't care that, like, I'm like, if I show up and I'm pissed off, like, please just leave me alone.
That part.
I don't know, like, I like to wear my emotions on my sleeve. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm like, this is what I say I am, is what I show you. So, like, if you're mad and pissed off, then
that's okay.
You know? Okay, thank you.
I feel like that shit gets me down a lot of the time too, especially like working service industry and like being like a person that's in the front of house, like as a bartender and that sort of thing. Right. I feel like we're not allowed to show moments of stress, not allowed to show moments of frustrations, but 9 times out of 10, y'all just being fucking stupid and it's pissing me off. Like, come on, like, you came here to drink, not for me to like throw that ass back for you. And like, if I'm feeling like giving that night, then like, I'll give that. But if not, it's like the expectation of like performance just fucking throws me. I like, a lot of the time I'm just like, in my mind, it's like, I don't know who they thought I was, but like, I don't like, people tell me like to dance, like, oh, throw it back. I'm like, I don't feel like throwing it back. Like, I don't dance on command. Like, it's just weird energy that I feel like people, like you said, like people take advantage of that as creatives, like just expecting so much of us. I don't like that.
Right, no. And I also, like, I am a very loving, like, open, honest person in general. So, like, I love to give people love. And sometimes I feel like being that way, people are like, oh, I always just get this love from this person. Like, might as well just take this love, almost, you know? Like, I experienced that a lot. And, but, like, also boundaries. Like, finding boundaries has been, like, a big lesson in my life, like, this past year. And
is there
I
any...
I feel like it's helped with that a little bit, of being like, oh, I have this boundary for me, for myself, of what I feel about myself. And, like, the outside perception of that, it's like, okay, you can think that and you can have that opinion, but is that how you feel about yourself, too? Because, like, I don't know, I just believe in us as kind of more mirrors than we like to realize sometimes. And it's like, often if somebody comes to me with something of like a flaw of mine or whatever, and they want to voice it, I'm like, okay, noted, I get that, or like maybe I could understand that, and if it's something I need to fix, I fix. But like, also I don't waver from myself. That makes sense?
No, 100%.
You know?
It's like being a person that's able to take critique from somebody else, or maybe not even critique, just like, people be throwing their opinions around here.
Right.
Like fucking noodles to the ceiling, just seeing
Yes.
mistakes. We don't agree with them and shit
Right.
sometimes like that.
Absolutely.
And I feel like it's very easy for us as people, and like whenever I have conversations like this, I always like to use language like us and like we, just like so that people know like I'm not above these interactions. I just try to be very conscious on not allowing them to continue. You know what I mean? So it's like going back, like it's very easy for us as people to be judgmental of people. You know what I mean? And I feel like when we're judging others, some part of what we're judging stems from how we view ourselves, exactly like you said. So I'm very happy that you hit on that. Thank you for that.
Yeah. No, and I think as being a creative and open person, and you get that a lot because you kind of do things to have people critique what you do, essentially. Like a lot of artists, their work is critiqued. Like a dance is critiqued. Like a drink, like you read a review on it, people are like, oh, I want to talk about this in this way or that way or whatever. And so I feel like it feels like people give like the automatic, like, oh, I see into your life so well already through your creation that like I just have access to you.
Yes.
And then it's weird to be like, no, actually boundary, like you can't cross
I
that
can
line
imagine
with me.
that on like the level of like the celebrity, like that shit.
Absolutely.
That's a whole nother level of all sorts of boundaries crossed. I feel the same way when it comes to like paparazzi and shit like that. Like just waiting outside of like houses and restaurants and hotels and shit just to snap a photograph of somebody and like doing like daily ass fucking life and then go sell it. Like that's just
so invasive.
It's so invasive, and it's like people think that it's normalized. It's like okay, because like a person has acquired a level of fame that automatically then entitles you to their livelihood just because a person shares this level of themselves, or because you see them on TV or you hear them on the radio, that automatically grants you into their personal life and their personal dealings. I just like it is not like I don't have celebrities that like have inspired me that I look up to, that I'm just like, nah, you're not gonna say shit wrong about her in my presence. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's a different level. It's like I don't give a fuck what that person does like on the daily basis. Like this person is not above critique. I'm not above critique. You know what I mean? Like if they do some fucked up shit, like, hold them accountable. Like I agree with that, whether they're a fave or not. And I feel like when it comes to people that have attachments to creatives, it's like a lot of people don't know how to do that because they see them as this person that just gives them so much. It's like, no, they can never do any wrong. It's like, yeah, the fuck they could.
Right.
They really could. So another question for you is, what is like one of your favorite ways to create? Like I know we hit on like makeup and fashion, but like do you do other things outside of that as well too?
Yes. I also paint. I use acrylic medium usually, and I paint on canvases, and I really like to paint on clothing. And I like to take photos also. That's a passion of mine. But like I really like to like style / create a look / put something together, like photograph it, like
your
that
full
kind
piece
of-
fits like they really
you.
be killing me every
Yes.
time. Like the magazine look you just
Oh,
did
thank
recently
you,
with like the
thank
bunny
you.
ear hat and like the white stockings. Like I saw that look, and like the boots, like down
It
to like the
just fit.
boots
Thank
that you
you.
pair it with it, like the whole fit. I was just like,
you.
and like as I was looking at those photos and like everything from like your facial expressions to the way you were posing, I'm like, that's just so Kiera. That's so
Thank
key.
you,
Like I
thank
saw like you're one of those people that like it's you when you see it, because you put
Right.
so much energy into your work. Like it's visceral, like you feel it, whether it's you painting, whether it's like you journaling or you writing and sharing that with us. Like I love your TikToks. I love the way that like the one that you did where you were just like drinking a glass of wine and you were
Yes.
journaling, like smoking a
Yes.
joint. Like I'm just like, that's the type of shit that I be doing, and it's like I love seeing people show the duality of themselves. Welcome back to the hot tub, y'all. We're just getting resituated over here. I honestly hate like when my shorts like fill up. I don't know what like when bubbles or air.
That's your bubble burst.
Like my fucking I'm getting my bubble burst as we speak, y'all. As we were talking back onto the conversation of just like the creative self and like the importance of like having a connection to mind, body, and spirit all accumulated into one. What other ways do you find art to be healing?
I think it really helps me work through my emotions, like what I'm feeling. Specifically painting, I think, is what helps me with that the most. Because I feel like I go through the most intense range of emotions when I paint, because it brings out a lot of that. I mean, I'm often painting from a feeling of some sort, even if it's like intense happiness, if it's sadness, if it's anger. And I think my paintings reflect that in the most like authentic like to do that with all my art forms. I just think that it like completes that mind-body connection to yourself. If you're true and honest to yourself through your creation, then like you're just open and honest for like everything.
It starts with you.
Yeah, right. And so I think it helps me push to do that and be that, and like makes me feel a lot of things. I guess like it's hard to be a creative and to stay true to being a creative.
You get imposter syndrome.
Absolutely, all the time, and that messes with my head a ton. But then that's when I get depressed, and then I'm like going through feelings of depression and anxiety and whatnot, and it's because I'm not seeing myself as what I actually am. You know, like if I'm creating something and I'm from nothing and I'm putting myself down, then like that's just like, I don't know, that makes me not want to create. And then I'm like, oh, I'm sad and I want to be lay in bed. But like the moment I pull myself out of that, I'm like, oh, I'm a creative. Like,
that's exactly how it goes.
Just like dead alive.
I was talking with my therapist about that, like when we were first getting acquainted with each other, and she was just like asking like, you know, how I view my life and that sort of thing, and I was like, honestly, like the best way to describe it is like highs and lows, and like when I'm high, like my creativity is at its peak, like, and like creativity, like it comes from everything around me being on like good terms, not just one or two things sometimes, you know what I mean? And you know, when I'm low, it's like I don't want to do anything, like I'm binging TV all the time, which that's not a bad thing, but like also that's not just who I am. So it's like I feel my lowest when I'm denying multiple parts of my creativity, when multiple parts of my spirit aren't getting fed, or as you know, a lot of people say it, like the chakras are just out of balance, like I don't feel in alignment with myself. And when I do feel that, that's when I feel like I bank out my best work, whether that be through just being in good energy every day, or you know, for a couple of days straight, or I made a new cocktail, a new dessert concept, I wrote something, like I, you know, fed my inner child, like all these things that bring me joy that I don't, you know, always have the energy to feed sometimes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It gets hard to remain that balance, but I think also it's important to remember like that is the balance. You know, like obviously too long in one area I think is detrimental. Obviously, like high highs all the time, like burnout.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
Low lows, like stagnation. Like finding that balance between those two. Because like yes, everybody deserves to rest. Like we need rest. We need that like I'm trying to just binge something else that somebody else created and like lay with myself in that way. But I don't know. I love finding the balance between those things. I think is like what life is supposed to be. Is like allowing yourself to be different and changing, especially if you are feeling like you are ever changing.
100%. Like how could we not see ourselves in that light? It's like every year you get older, your body grows physically, it changes physically. Should your mind and spirit also not do that just because you can't see those things all the time? You know what I mean? And it's like we all know, like we all have our habits, and we all know what bad habits that we need to break and that sort of thing. And it's just like what it really boils down to is just like, do you want to be a better person or not? And it's not only necessarily that, do you have the resources to be a better person? When you think of like the society in which we live in today, what comes to mind when you think of the two words connection and love?
And love. I think a lot of people have disconnection with love and they confuse it with like infatuation or just comfortability, or something like that. Like I don't know. I also feel like I've been in ways in my life in certain areas detached from love. So like also that concept of like if you're hurting, you tend to kind of, that's how you hurt people. And I feel like a lot of people are hurting and are unwilling to kind of like make that connection to self to heal those things, and so often the relationships get kind of just like insane and crazy and back and forth and like too emotional and like all these things. And like even if you have like genuine love for somebody, doesn't mean that like if you're disconnected from self, if you're disconnected from love, then like what it's like not a full connection. Even touching back, like maybe like that's why we're coming full circle again, is like finding more of a balance within that ourselves. And then like,
I feel like I'm a very friendly person.
Right, same.
But sometimes like I'm not looking for friendship. Like you know what I mean?
Right, absolutely.
Like sometimes like I'm just not like I'm not in the mood to like entertain somebody at a bar, like when I'm not working at said bar. I'm just kind of just there right now, like I'm just vibing right now, like I don't want to meet anybody new. I just want to cut up in the cut and be cool. You know, even in like social settings that I feel like I have to be, like I have to attend, like I have to go to this thing for this person and that sort of thing. It's like sometimes I just don't want to I don't want to make friends. And like even in relationships, I feel like how many times have real quick interjection before I get into this. Katy Perry, y'all did y'all shit with this. Like y'all really did y'all shit with this, Katy Perry. Like
It's good.
shout out
It's
y'all.
really good.
Like the
I
black cherry notes really come through really nicely. It's like I know that when I made this, I only use it as a little bit of a topper, but it drinks really nicely on its own. Has a great shelf life in the fridge, and you can find this locally at Curiosity Salt Lake City over down 9th. All right.
So go get it.
Right. So go
Check
get it.
Actually, like it honestly is making me feel very, just like
Calm and euphoric a little
and
bit.
euphoric,
It's the
yes.
ashwagandha root.
No,
It's the
right, for
ashwagandha
real.
root.
And it's a nice like introduction. I feel like I enjoy like healthy like esque things like this that is supposed to help with that mind, body, spirit.
Yes.
And it's doing its
It's
job.
cheers to that, baby.
Absolutely.
But what I was gonna get into is like on speaking in terms of like not being open to friendship. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
like how many times have you run into a relationship where like shit don't work out and they like but we can still be friends. It's like nigga no. Like number one, I wasn't looking for friendship when I met you. Like but like
So let's
here
be
we are.
friends now, after
Like
we
let's be
just,
friends
like-
now. Like. And like it's gone both ways for me. Like I have exes that I'm still friends with, that I'm still like legit friends with. Like oh yeah, like we see each other out in the streets. It's all love. It's like hey cool, how you good? Cool. And then I have like people that I ain't got no beef with, but I don't really keep up with them. And then there's people that are just like I don't give a fuck what you do, boy. Like go ahead and be somewhere. Go ahead and be somewhere. And I don't feel like that's a bad thing. It's like as you get older, it's just like you gotta be really picky choosy about like who you let in your circle and who you let in your life. And if people are throwing fuckery your way, then you need to tell them to fuck the fuck off. Like, and that's on that.
I think it's not hard, like when like that in that concept, like if to remain friends essentially, you have like I feel like sometimes people think that they still gain the same access to you through being your friend, and it's like, are you like this with all your friends? Like, is this what friends mean to you? Because like, I don't know, it's interesting because obviously just like a friendly relationship. Hey, I'm out, I see you, like what's up? Nice to see you, like cordial, obviously. But that like just friends relationship where the people like want to expect those things from you, I think is another story.
Whack, weird, cut it out.
Right, like, please stop.
Like let's talk about boundaries and like
yes.
especially like when like it's like you said like people still expect certain things like once the relationship changes like okay the relationship changed so the parameters in which we entertain this relationship also have to change, meaning my boundaries have to change. So no, you can't call me this late anymore. No, you can't pop up here anymore. Like
don't text me, don't call my phone. Like don't find ways to reach me and talk to me. Like
it's okay. Like I like my space. You wanted to be friends, right? Go be friendly over there.
Right.
Ain't that your friend?
Hi, nice to see you. Back to the bar. Do I actually know you? Wait, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
What's your name again?
Don't get me to being all shady.
No, I love that because I can be that. Like I love that it's
duality
just as much. Right. Because
duality.
like people are also very shady. Like people think that they you don't pick up on when they're like also being shady, and it's like surprised that you're being shady back in some way, or like oh you want to play a game of like who can be mean because I can be mean to you too.
I'll read the room, no Bible. Don't do that. I kind of love that you love that too. But it's just like I don't know like. I like being petty sometimes.
It's
just like if you want to see who gonna out petty each other, like we can really take it there. I'm Miss Petty Patty.
But I think that's coming back full circle to being like just a boss bitch in general. Like.
That's who we are.
I view you as that, and like that's why I've always loved your energy. Is because every time I've seen you or experienced you, I'm like, you show up as yourself, and even like on like I said like we've met in like. Different points in my life where I've been on to like another type of energy, it's still always been like you've just always been that, so it's like we have this open connection already, so it's like oh like if I notice you be in some type of way or whatever, I'm not like oh my god I'm
right
so sad. Like,
you know what I
like,
mean
oh,
you get it
like
I
just understand like I guess on people in general, which I feel like a lot of people don't have connection to that, and that's I think comes with like loss of connection with self.
We don't humanize one another.
No, absolutely not. Like and then the way like society is and all those things, it's like how it's structured to pretty much just like give yourself up to like work for the man and like give away all your creativity and drive and like hope
for free at that.
Right,
like make that make sense for me. I hate that shit.
No,
like
I don't like that you can like pay essentially. Like if you have money, like you are automatically able to do something like be creative. I think there's a lot of people that lack resources. And,
Whole time.
And it's like, oh, I have to work this grueling job to just support my lifestyle, but like I have this passion of being creative or whatever, and I just can't feed it because honestly, like I feel like as being a creative, I feel like I have 2 full-time jobs. Like I want to be a creative as a whole. Like I want to wake up every day and just like create something cool and
whole
like
time.
that be my lifestyle, absolutely. But like getting to the point of being able to do that is not simple, it's not easy. It's like you have to pay for your passions. Like you think this is are you kidding me? Like absolutely, like, you have to put time and energy and effort into like the things you create, and that's a job, you know. That like essentially I'm getting paid for that sometimes. So it's a job. It's a job. I'm working on getting fully paid for that, obviously, you know. We can only hope.
Right. Get that bag. I ain't mad at you. Thank you again so much for coming on to the show, bringing your energy, fostering this beautiful creative relationship that we have. I cannot wait to see all the amazing things that you're going to continue doing, including the beautiful something that she's making us that I'm not going to tell y'all about.
Stay tuned.
It's going to be hot, I'm telling you. So I'm going to go ahead and send us out real quick if you're down. Cool.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Go ahead and look right at the camera. Hey, what's up? Hello, y'all. I'm Michael G, a.k.a. Daddy Longlegs, sitting in the hot tub with my good sis Key, and this is Cocktails and Bubbles, baby. And we hope you got your motherfucking bubble burst.
Ooh, that was a good
That was a good clink. That was a really good clink. And that's a wrap.